Welcome everyone to the Spoiler Room. I am your host Mark Krawczyk, and we have a full boat here tonight to talk about a very big lizard. We're talking about Godzilla 2014, and we're just going to go down the row here. We've got Colin here, movie reviewer and fellow movie fanatic, and new to the Spoiler Room. We're glad to have you here, Colin. How you doing?
Doing good. Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
Hey, glad to have you. And then we have our Spoiler Room regular, Dawn. How are you tonight?
Fabulous.
Yes. And the one and only big fucking deal, Mr. Glenn Butner. How are you, sir?
Yeah. Talking about.
Izzy's real enthusiastic.
We have Joe Caldwell 3 back in the Spoiler Room. How you doing tonight?
What's up, Mark? Hi, everybody. How you doing?
Good to have you. And
Thanks.
then we have another new person, a lady, to help balance things out more. And so Dawn's not the only one. Ramona, how are you tonight, ma'am?
I'm doing good. Happy to be here.
Awesome. Glad to have you. And Mr. Scott Davis is back.
Hello.
He's awake and ready to talk to some big lizard.
Allegedly.
Mr. Tony Estrada joins us as well. How are you doing tonight, Tiger Dude?
Godzilla! I'm doing really good.
That's great to hear. Well, this past weekend we all spent our money into the big, huge blockbuster that was Godzilla, #1 film in the world that we found out at the end of this weekend. Not a real big surprise there, though I think what was a surprise is what type of film we ended up seeing. There's been a lot of mixed comments, and I just wanted to get this group together tonight to kind of discuss a little bit. Now, if you're not familiar with the Spoiler Room, we will spoil the hell out of this film, so if you have not seen it yet, you may want to wait, go watch it, and then watch this episode, because we will be talking about the ins and outs, the good and the bad and the ugly of Godzilla 2014. So let's dive right into this. Now, the director is Gareth Edwards, and he directed a short, well, not a short, but a small independent film called Monsters, which is probably what got him this job. And you know what? I'm sorry. I'm going to weigh in first here. I think I have to jump in first. I'm sorry.
No, it's just show.
Everybody is commenting about how they haven't seen a lot of Godzilla, and I want to talk to you guys. That's our first point tonight I want to talk about is how much Godzilla we didn't see. And I'm surprised that everybody is being surprised by this point when I totally panned Monsters because you never got to see the monsters till the very end of the film. So the fact that with Godzilla, we didn't really get to see him till near the end of the film shouldn't have been a surprise to anyone. But Colin, why don't we start with you first, sir? Was that a surprise to you how little we actually got to see Godzilla in Godzilla?
You know, a little bit, but I have to admit I did watch some reviews, and they did, say, if you're expecting it, don't be surprised if you don't see a lot of Godzilla. And so, I liked how he teased it, though. It made it more satisfying when we were actually able to see Godzilla. And so it didn't really take away from the film for me, personally.
What about you, Dawn? Surprised there was very little Godzilla?
I wasn't overly surprised,
Mm-hmm.
especially after revisiting the original and seeing there was less Godzilla in the original. So no, I wasn't overly surprised that there was less Godzilla. I was disappointed, but not surprised.
Mr. Butner, we'll go right down the line here. What about you?
If I want your Godzilla, I'll watch the teaser trailer, not the movie. I wanted to actually see more of Godzilla. I mean, the movie should have been called Lieutenant Fordzilla. That's what it should have been. Almost all the time. Kick-ass. That's who we got to see.
Kick-ass. Soldier Kick-ass.
That's who that was.
Yes, that's who that was.
I've been trying to place him. I'm like, who's that funny-looking guy?
Yeah, and he's going to be Quicksilver.
Quicksilver,
Which is going to be awkward.
Well, there were a couple in this movie, and then they're like, their brother and sister in the next movie.
Yeah. And Joe, what about you, sir?
Oh, wow.
I was kind of disappointed by it overall. I mean, I like Godzilla, but I did complain there was a lack of Godzilla. Maybe I'm coming around a little bit more to see it. You know, it is kind of like the original Godzilla movie where he doesn't show up for a while, and as one person commented, you know, you want his presence. It's like heralded when he shows up. So I don't know.
What about you, Miss Ramona?
Honestly, I was pissed off.
Okay.
I do think there should have been more Godzilla. If you're going to make it a point to state that you've made and created the largest Godzilla to date, and then only give me like little dainty clips of him here and there, and then just not enough at the end, it just made me so mad. Like, I've been following Godzilla my whole life. He looked amazing. Can I please see him for more than 5 seconds at a time?
Or like on the TV, or like.
Oh, that
or
was
instead
even
of-
worse. Like, I'm
instead
going
of
to watch the
panning away
TV
from
of the
fight and showing
TV.
it on TV. Yeah, that's a rip off
the
of his first
the
movie. That's and the
I was
first
gonna say,
director did that in his first movie a lot.
That's this reminds, in some ways, it reminded me of Cloverfield. When I was watching Cloverfield at times, I'm like, there's an awesome movie happening that we're not actually seeing.
Exactly.
Mr. Davis, what about you?
It's
Were you disappointed at a lack of Godzilla in Godzilla?
Are you talking to me?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yes,
shit.
Mr.
I'm sorry.
Davis.
I didn't hear it. I didn't hear it.
Oh, that's okay.
Look, I've got insomnia lately, okay?
No, that's okay.
Okay, I'm awake. Okay, we're on live. Okay. Well, yeah, I was. And I took a couple of things into account there. You panned monsters because the monsters were just kind of on the sidelines and stuff. I actually loved Monsters. I thought that was a great movie. And you can totally see it, like, okay, because he took what is like a giant monster thing and he focused on the human element. That's a good thing. Okay, I get that. But when you make a film and it's called Godzilla, people have expectations of Godzilla. And I've watched a lot of the older Godzillas this week, a lot of the Showa era films. And yeah, the first one was kind of like Jaws, where it came out halfway through and stuff. But after that, you saw him kind of a lot. And then of course, the other ones you kept on seeing him. This one, it was such a little cock tease of the movie because it would show him and it would always cut away right away. And especially towards the end when they would start to fight, like, oh my God, they're gonna fight! Next morning,
Yeah.
are you kidding me? I think the poor people in the theater that were sitting behind me had to listen to me just utter out a couple audible curses every couple times, like, damn it!
I totally understand now how my dog felt when I would do the I'm going to throw the ball. Oh. That's how I felt. And now I know the torture I put my dog through.
Yeah, this
Mr. Estrada.
it couldn't be that much on the sidelines. It should have been that much.
What about you, Tony? Were you disappointed at the lack of Godzilla?
Continue. Yeah, and like in terms of his screen time.
Yes.
To be honest, I wouldn't say I was disappointed because I've seen the Japanese one. Obviously, Godzilla doesn't really pop in until maybe after the first 45 minutes. And then I read a little news article how it would pay a little reminiscent to the Japanese 1954 film. So it honestly didn't bug me. And it's honestly one of my favorite films of this year. But I still would have loved to see a little more Godzilla. I'm not disappointed, though, because I did love the build-up. I loved, the human development that was going on and, the action sequences with the Mutos. But, yeah, overall, I would say Godzilla could appear just in a little bit more.
See, and for me, the reason I panned Monsters was because I didn't like the fact that really we're just following these two people with their home video camera through Mexico. And then suddenly at the end we get the monsters. But the reason that didn't bug me in Godzilla is because I expected that. I expected him to be the tease with Godzilla going into it. Didn't mean I wanted that out of the Godzilla film, but it didn't mean I was quite disappointed because I was just sitting there going, You're doing exactly what I thought you would do. Now, here's the question. Do you think, and this is open for anyone to jump in, do you think maybe they took this route because they were trying to appeal to a new fan base and to the casual Godzilla fan rather than the Godzilla fan that we all grown up with, to the point of where we were given the first film where there wasn't much Godzilla, but by the time we've gotten to the later Godzilla, he's there all the time fighting monsters, and we're used to that. Whereas the casual Godzilla fan who might only know Matthew Broderick's Godzilla might not, it might not appeal to him to see a 45-minute fight,
Not at all.
a 45-minute monster fight.
Thanks for bringing back the horrible past.
Let me address
Sorry.
that.
Yeah.
No, I think
ahead,
if
Joe.
you're going to start a franchise, a fresh franchise, it's a good way to start it. Like I said, I have some mixed emotions about the movie now that I'm thinking about it more. Initially, I didn't like it, but if you're starting a franchise, it's a good way to introduce the character. I don't know where the hell you go with monster characters, though, because that's the problem with monsters is they're not characters. You can't really, they're animals. You can't develop them. So I don't know.
Well,
Can you
yeah.
hear me? Can you guys hear my
Yeah, we can
audio?
hear
Yeah.
you fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I was watching some of those, and I haven't seen the you pronounce them Heisei areas. I don't know, speak Japanese, but I was watching some of the Showa era Godzillas, and even if they aren't actual like characters and everything, the monsters did have personalities. A lot of those monsters did have a sense of personality. So.
But you can't write a narrative around it, though. You can't really
No.
write
Well,
you
not
have to add
necessarily.
the humans in to make it interesting to humans, right? I mean,
Yeah.
that's where the film kind of has a hard time.
Well, see,
Because I thought it was a little bit like Cloverfield, too.
Yeah.
I thought it tried to combine the elements of Cloverfield and Pacific Rim, and they kind of, I don't know.
I would say that if that was their intent, I think it was an awful choice based on who's going to see this movie. So you have the Godzilla fans, and then you have the, as you call them, like the more casual.
Yeah.
Those people who aren't as familiar with Godzilla, I'm thinking that's your average movie-going public, who for the most part are morons, and they would have pissed themselves silly if this had been nothing but 90 minutes of Godzilla breathing fire down other dudes' throats. They would have eaten it up, and they'd be lining up for the sequel already. Because the people where a more emotional story like this appeals to is, or that human drama. Some of the Godzilla fans, but then also that's going to appeal to people who aren't going to see this movie. That's going to appeal to people who are going to see a Wes Anderson flick or something like that, where or they're seeing my parents. They're not going to go see this movie, but they're going to see more of a human drama.
Let me ask a question, though, real quick, of all you guys. Do you think that the people that you knew that were real Godzilla fans, they liked the film? That's what I seem to get from it, that people that actually were into Godzilla liked the movie.
Lies.
I consider myself a casual Godzilla fan.
Oh my God.
Ramona might disagree with you with that.
Okay. But the people I encountered, that they seem to kind of appreciate the Godzilla they were presented, the fans. So.
Oh gosh, I mean, and you had
They must not have blinked during the movie.
two you guys who couldn't be on the podcast tonight, Derek Carey and Tom Berdinsky are big Godzilla fans, and they both.
Yeah, they disliked it.
Yeah, I've seen mixed kind of down the line, which is surprising because I would expect it to be pretty much like you said. Like if you were into Godzilla, you'd think this way. If you were coming up at it fresh, you were this way. I'd kind of expect that, but from what I've seen, and admittedly that's only like maybe a couple dozen people out of the millions who saw it. It's been pretty evenly split between like whether people like it or dislike it, not necessarily like where they were coming from. I mean, I think that the idea it's a good question, Mark. But I think that, I don't know if that's what they were thinking. I think it was actually a ballsy decision to do what they did and get Gareth Edwards there. Did I say his name right? I don't know.
Yeah.
And
you're right.
so I think that was a really good idea. I think it was a ballsy move. Like, okay, we're going to tell this human story. I think they just kind of went a little too far in that direction for this type of movie. Like, you've already made monsters. You've already made that personal human film. You can tell the human story. Please do. Trust me, I am not going to get on your case if you actually put in some honest-to-God characters in a summer blockbuster. But yeah, it was too much. It was too much in the one direction, and then it would just tease, and then cut away. Also, when we saw Godzilla, all the smoke and rubble and everything. Oh my God, I don't see 3D. I don't see that. I don't see 3D. You know, as you can see, the peepers aren't exactly great, so I can't see a 3D movie. But so I swear to God, knowing how dark those 3D screens get, I don't know how any of you saw anything in those movies because it was already pretty damn dark.
You were gonna say something, Joe?
No, I just felt it was exactly like they took the movie Monsters and then they just like inbred Godzilla onto it, like because it's exactly the same movie. There are two people trying to reach each other. You know, in Monsters they were trying to get to America, but it was like this like sort of cheesy love story, which I really like Monsters a lot better than this movie. But they exactly the same stuff. They showed Godzilla on TV. They showed the monsters on TV, and of course at the end of Monsters, if you haven't seen, I'm gonna spoil it for you. The monsters are not that bad, really, right, Mark?
Yeah.
To me, it was kind of the abyss of monster movies. Which I consider that a compliment. It's like I enjoyed that film, but this film is so much like it. And I had read an article with the director before Monsters came out, and he said that's why I showed the monster in Monsters right at the beginning, because I always hated monster movies where they didn't show them till like 30, 40 minutes in. And then when I saw this, I was thinking about that actually. So.
You think there's gonna be like a big like throng of people outside of like his like posh Beverly Hills house or apartment or something, just holding up that article, just like.
Here's a question I kind of want to go down the line with. Do you think maybe some of the editing choices they made with Godzilla, and maybe possibly the lack of Godzilla fighting that we saw, was on part due to the poor performance by Pacific Rim? Tony, let's start with you. What do you think? Do you think maybe Pacific Rim might have made him a little gun-shy of not showing as much, considering Pacific Rim, that's pretty much all it was?
Well, you showed the trailers for Pacific Rim. They pretty much did show all the fight scenes, but according to what you saw in the reactions for that film, everyone didn't seem to care because everyone seemed to love the living shit out of that film. Like, they're going crazy for the battle scenes. And that's honestly how I felt with Godzilla. So I do think Godzilla did a good job hiding the final 20 minutes because, like I said, I thought the build-up was paid off really well to that final 20 minutes. And that's why I really love the film. I can understand why it could bore some people. I understand why some people could hate it. But to me, it was really worth it.
Hey, nothing wrong with that. Colin, what about you? Do you think maybe Pacific Rim might have made them a little gun-shy and showing too much monster fighting?
I do think so, because I think that overall, here at least in America, Pacific Rim really underperformed compared to what they thought it was going to do. And I mean, I love Pacific Rim. I thought it was an absolute. It's like what Transformers should have been.
Yeah.
Just gigantic machines beating the crap out of each other. And you know, I think Warner Bros. Was a little bit hesitant because they're like, well, this didn't really work, so what if we only showed a little bit here and there? Maybe it'll work out better. And it seems to be doing pretty well overall.
Sure. Ramona, what about you? Do you think maybe Pacific Rim made them gun-shy on it? Because some of these fight scenes look like there was supposed to be more, and they put it on the cutting room floor.
I think that it factored in, but I think they went to the opposite extreme, where it was like, all right, Pacific Rim was all of this, and that didn't make people happy. Instead of finding like a nice little medium, they went the complete opposite way, where to me it was just like, it really wasn't enough for me. And I consider myself a pretty big Godzilla fan.
What about you, Don?
I agree. I think that I do think that Pacific Rim's underwhelming results at the box office were definitely had an effect on this, and I agree with Ramona that they went too far in the other direction to compensate rather than finding some nice median. They decided to go, well, let's get the audience to connect with the people, but they didn't make the people
Connectable.
worth connecting with. Yes.
Exactly. I agree with that.
What about you, Glenn? Do you think Pacific Rim made him gun shy?
I don't know if that's really what it was.
Because it does. I mean, it really does seem like there's a lot of fighting on the cutting room floor in this. The way they edit it.
It seems like they did leave a lot out, and maybe I don't know. I think it might have been there a little bit, but I think a lot of it is just it's the director's style.
Mm-hmm.
He's not all flash. He's very little flash. He's going more for story, which unfortunately my biggest gripe, aside from the 8 seconds of Godzilla, is the tremendous. So you have a tremendous cast in this film,
Mm-hmm.
and it is one of the most wasted uses of talent I have ever seen. I mean, I forget the actress name, the one that plays Cranston's wife.
Elizabeth.
Let's kill her off in 2 minutes.
Yeah.
Bryan Cranston. We'll have him cry, say some crazy things, and then kill him off.
Yeah.
And then we'll take Ken Watanabe, or however you pronounce his name,
Yeah.
and just basically make him stand around looking mopey the whole movie, and give him like 4 lines.
Sally Hawkins, same thing.
Yeah, it's such an absolute waste of talent. Why did you cast these people in these roles if you aren't going to use them?
Yeah,
That's what I said. Yeah.
Though they did make the best of the roles they had. I mean, it showed them what kind of actors they were, because they did go with the human element, but the humans kind of felt a little stereotypical. I mean, like cookie cutter, like cliche disaster type people. And don't get me wrong.
There's buses still on that bridge. That line, I was like, really? They just said, "There's buses still on that bridge."
Yeah.
I was like, God, that's the worst line. The guy's like an admiral in the Navy. There's monsters killing each other. Yes, there's buses on the freaking bridge. Who cares about the children? Like I said, it's ridiculous. Iron Man 3 did it. Spider-Man 2 did it. They have to inject this like 13-year-old kid in it because it's a PG 13-year-old kid. They have to, like a preteen child, to run around in the movie and be introduced to danger. It's freaking annoying. I watch it with my kids, and it's funny because my kids, those are the parts they like the best. And so psychologically, I understand why they put it in the movie, and it pisses me off. I'm like, it's so bad. It's like, yes, I understand he's a good guy, and he's running around helping the little kid, but it was just totally freaking unnecessary. I mean,
Yeah, when it wasn't his son, they like threw in like a surrogate Japanese kid.
Yeah, that's what my friend said. Though the nurse didn't even matter. It was like, she didn't.
Yeah, you were hoping maybe for a little more with the roles. I think it does fall into what was said by Ramona and Dawn, is the fact that they almost seem to have gone too extreme. On the one with the trying to add the human element, is that they didn't find a happy medium and they kind of went the other way with it. I mean, I like the performances of Cranston when he was on. I thought he was really well done. I wish I would have seen more of Watanabe, but when he was on, I did enjoy his screen time, even though his character was underused, and everybody was pretty much underused in this. But I will say that when you do get the scenes with Godzilla, as brief as they were, when you did see them, for me, it at least made it that much more. I think this is what it was going for.
Yeah.
Was a spectacle. It was more surprising when you got to see Godzilla, because the one thing he did capture, I think we'll all agree, is scale and scope of the monsters, which is something that I think may have even been a little lost in Pacific Rim. Here, it seemed to be better to get the actual sizing of the monsters, of just how big these Godzilla was. I think he did.
They portrayed it more like a natural disaster, basically, which I kind of like that part, the fight scenes, and that's when they took you away from it, where you're looking at it on the TV or from a distance. It was like a typhoon or something, I mean, he's creating tidal waves. I mean, they literally leveled cities though, and at the end of the movie when it said Godzilla saves the city, I was like, did it really save the city? I mean, there's a couple of dead radioactive corpses around, how many buildings did it destroy? I know that kid got killed in that tidal wave, and the dog got killed in the tidal. People got killed in those tidal waves. I mean, yeah, he's all friendly and he's like a cat when he's sleeping, but he fucking killed a lot of people. It's like he's not that cuddly, you know what I mean? It's like don't try to make him all cuddly and cute. Yeah.
But the needs of the many outweigh the needs of the few. So those few died. So
This is my
millions could live.
What hero killed more people, Godzilla or Superman?
Yeah, that's true.
That was way
No
worse.
kidding.
There we go. Who destroyed more urban landscape and killed more people, Godzilla or Superman?
Godzilla.
Well, the new Superman's a dick too.
Superman opened a black hole in the middle of the city, though.
Wait,
Superman
I mean,
did like a black
think,
hole. So.
I think that's pretty much a given at this point. It was like, oh man, it's like he doesn't know what a hero is at all.
They should just have them two fight each other. Fuck it.
Godzilla. There we go. Next movie.
Let's cut to the chase. I don't want to even. Yeah.
Godzilla versus Superman. Just 90 minutes of them fighting in various big cities and leveling them to the ground. There we go.
I would pay to see that, to be honest.
Hell yeah.
I think we all would. I think at this point we would, definitely.
Or bad team up together to fight Godzilla.
There was supposed to be a Godzilla versus Batman where they were going to go against, where he was going to go against Adam West and Burt Ward in the '60s.
Oh, that would have been awesome.
That was one of the aborted films that I had read about. There was like all these weird Godzilla films that never got made, and I'm like, that would have either been the. I think I said this on Facebook. I said that would have either been the worst Batman film ever or the best. There's just no in between.
Pulls up the Godzilla repellent. There we go.
Let me. Can I throw out my pitch to the Hollywood producers that are watching the show?
Sure, go ahead.
I was saying just make a kaiju movie that takes place like post human race, and just have like narration and explain how the kaiju are fighting each other after they destroyed us, killed us, and you could have it like a computer narrating, a satellite or something watching it. I don't know. Just cut out the people and just have the kaiju fighting each other. Make it like a freaking nature show. I just want to see destruction, variety of kaiju.
I'm there.
Like lighting, right? Exactly.
No, I'm
lighting,
totally there.
And just in a post-apocalyptic, the cities have been destroyed.
So you're
computer
talking
radiation all over the damn place. Just wild shit happening. Fantasy.
You're
Pure
talking about Walk with Kaiju versus.
Yes, exactly. Like one of those nature movies, but just like you could focus on one of the creatures and just have it go through various steps and just cut out the human element. It's not needed.
The daily life of the Godzilla is filled with. No.
Exactly.
Perfect place for that.
I officially now want. I also officially.
Pacific Rim happens.
I want Ramona to narrate that movie.
Yeah.
I like that.
You can contact me on my YouTube channel.
Kickstarter.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah.
When it's not fighting monsters, Godzilla enjoys a long swim in the ocean.
There you go. See? And he was. I
And
want to
look
see him
at him with
swimming.
his fiery blue fire as he roars.
There you go. See?
You do it like Planet Earth, totally. Just totally play it up. I think there we go. We got our next pitch. Let's get that down.
I'm sorry. Sorry, I had to get that in. Sorry.
Well worth it. Well worth it.
Okay.
I will say, okay, we don't get to see a lot of Godzilla. You didn't quite like the human element. I will say, though, how he offed the two Mutos were very cool. The deaths of those two Mutos were actually very cool and very Godzilla-ish. The one where he just bats the one thing into the building and it gets skewered. But the last death, it's like they built up to that final scene, and I had to admit that really gave me chills. But I just was like cheering when he opened up his mouth and just pumped the fire down. I'm like, okay, that's badass. Where was the rest of that?
Yeah, that
Money
was
shot right there.
a Godzilla-sized Snicker snack you can do this now. I'm telling you.
He tosses the head too. He holds onto the head for a while and tosses it.
He's also a fan of decapitation.
Yes, he is.
Yes. Decapitation is good.
No, I have had.
We had a
I know I'm at the right place. I know I'm in the right place.
Yeah, we were talking about decapitations earlier.
The women are chanting for decapitation. That's why.
Yeah, they were actually. The women were talking about decapitation.
You noticed that what he did use a few of his patented Godzilla moves, though. I noticed, even being the casual fan who hadn't seen the movies in a while, he was stomping on the one guy, which I love that. I mean, I liked his. I loved the design. I loved his arms, the way they were like regular arms. He had like gorillas sort of like size arms, and they were just. He looked really cool. That's one thing I'll give it. He looked freaking awesome, and so did the Motu. They kind of look like the Thundercats lion for a minute. That's what my friend told me. Like, it looks kind of like the Thundercats lion. I was like, yeah, it does look.
They reminded me if you took the.
Voltron. Was it? No, Voltron. I'm sorry.
Voltron. The thing on the thing.
Sorry, yeah.
What were you going to say, Ramona?
Oh, I was going to say the Mutos remind me if you took kind of a little bit of the Cloverfield, the Starship Troopers bugs, and then kind of threw in from, I'm going to go Gamera here, but the Gaios from Gamera where their heads are kind of shaped, they're shaped similar to that. That's like if they had a big like orgy, this is what would happen.
Well, I think they said they said
that picture, dear.
Orgy. That's a whole nother film.
I know. Nightmares About Tonight.
Orgy of the Kaiju. There you go.
That's a whole other genre.
That's the movie.
Oh, God.
That could be part 2, for our.
Great.
The Mutos are a sexual beast. Yeah. No.
Are we going to get into Kaiju fan fiction?
Someone call Leroy Myers.
You just said that now, and the internet's going to spawn. This ain't Godzilla XXX.
Jeez.
Godzilla makes a pornography all of a sudden.
Oh dear.
I think we can all agree to, and I think I'll go down the road. We'll start with Ramona, being the huge Godzilla fan. You got to admit, he did look, when we did finally get to see him, he looked Godzilla. Did he look like Godzilla?
He did, and I was honestly in the beginning before, when we were kind of just seeing little clips of him, this is like before the movie, I was a little worried because some of the angles to me looked like he had a face like a pug, where it was like squished in too much. Well, I mean, when you saw some of the early pictures, and then the toys came out, and the toys gave me confidence because, like a weirdo, I had to go and buy every one of them. But when he came on the screen, that's what makes me mad because he looked so awesome and amazing, and then to just not get to appreciate it as much as I wanted to, it just made me disheartened.
What about you, Colin? Did you like the way Godzilla was looking?
Yeah, I thought he just looked amazing overall. And if somebody did a review and they're like, he looked like a puppy dog. Every time I saw him, I was expecting him to just start sticking his tongue out at me.
Well, that final
I'd be okay
scene,
with that.
Gwen, I think you mentioned something about that. Did you? How he was at the end of the film, just kind of a puppy dog?
Yeah. I liked how he looked, but I needed more of that.
Right.
Like the way. Because I mean, the whole, well, but you had to admit, he looked great. I'm like, it's fine. You know what else looked great? The lightsabers in the prequels look great. The movies are good. I don't care how good the lightsabers look. I wanted to be around that.
Sure. I understand. Okay, who unleashed it?
Sorry, I ate something earlier. Taco
Tom,
Bell.
what did you think of the Godzilla and the monster designs? Dawn.
Oh, hey, hi. I thought he looked great. I had actually read something on IMDb that the filmmakers were getting slack because Godzilla was too fat.
I love that.
They need to review some of the older films because he was pretty hippie in a lot of those.
Yeah. So I had read something about that, and I'm like, I thought he looked great. I thought they did a very good job of supersizing him, but keeping him proportionate. Yeah.
Made the arms longer. Yeah, I mean, they definitely made the arms longer.
I just thought the whole fat thing was so funny when it came out, and there were people who were offended by that, and and I thought it was so funny because I thought this is great because this is like the Jap. I mean, by now Godzilla is a cultural icon in Japan.
Yeah.
And the Americans come out with their Godzilla, for getting that 898 abortion there, but and he comes out and they go, oh, you know this is American Godzilla. He's so fat. Look at him. Too many trips to the drive-through Godzilla. And I just thought that was just so hilarious because I'm like, yeah, that's a perfect critique on the West End when Dawn, Dawn, when you just said supersized, I'm like, oh, that too, supersized Godzilla, yes.
Yep.
I'm like, that's
There's
hilarious.
Great meme going around now where it's got the picture of the new Godzilla and the old Godzilla. And it's like, since
I
when
saw
did this
that.
become sexier than this?
Yeah.
Stop, the Hollywood, body
Yeah.
and all that stuff.
Real kaiju have curves. Yeah.
I
I
thought he
can't
was kind
take
of
credit for
goofy.
that joke. I saw that on a poster.
What about you, Tony? Do you like the design of the Godzilla, the beefier Godzilla?
Oh, are you kidding me? Hell to the fucking yes, man. I thought the visual and the detail on him, it just looked magnificent. Godzilla just looks at you, the detail on his eyes, it looks scary, and you just really buy him as this big, giant, beefed up monster. I was just really impressed.
What about you, Joe? You liked it?
Yeah, I mean, I thought the design was cool. I liked the longer arms. I liked when they showed his hand. It was like kind of looked like almost the armor plating the scales. And then like the big sacky bottom, I thought it was cool because instead of because obviously the old costume was a guy in it or whatever, but it looked kind of cool because the way they designed it, it made it kind of look like a bear, where he had the long arms, but his bottom was heavy like a bear, if you know what I'm
Sure.
talking about. But I kind of like that. I don't know. The design was one thing I really liked. Even the design on the Motu, I thought was pretty freaking cool. Definitely Cloverfield, I thought, influenced though, yeah.
Yeah, with the Muto, that's why I thought, like, what, they get J.J. Abrams to design?
Well, they ripped off a lot from Pac Rim, though, too, with the EMP and then the blue lightning and, the... I don't know. I thought
there was a lot of ode to a number of different kaiju movies, both good and bad, young and old. Everyone caught, I'm sure, hopefully, the Mothra reference.
Oh, yeah.
That's what my buddy kept telling me.
I liked that.
What was that? I
reference.
didn't catch it. My buddy
Yeah,
was
I didn't
telling me.
catch it either. You gotta tell me. Sorry.
They're Cranston and
In the house.
They're in the house, their old
Oh,
house,
okay.
and it's all overgrown and everything. They're visiting 15 years later, and he's got a aquarium that apparently had a moth in it at one time or whatever, and he's got a name at the bottom, and it says Mothra.
I didn't even see that. Wow, I gotta tell my friend that.
Oh yeah,
I don't think he even saw it. He saw it
that.
that closely, yeah.
I did like that Ken Watanabe's character was named Dr. Sarazawa too. I thought that was
Yes.
cool.
Yeah. That was a cool.
How about let's discuss his decision to let them fight? I was like, is this guy on somebody's payroll? Seriously? I'm like, he's getting paid for this advice? Let them fight? I'm like, well, they're only fighting over nuclear weapons. Jesus, destroying cities. It's like, let them fight. I can't believe the army can't come up with something to kill these things. That's what I thought this movie was going to be, more just the
typical.
army fighting them. I'm like, come on.
Have you not watched all the other Godzilla films? Anything they came up with never keeps them dead.
Well, whatever.
Lasers.
And I'll tell you, this army,
Plasma ray.
the army, they're so stupid. If we had had this army during World War II, we'd all be walking around singing Deutschland, Deutschland right now. So we got to get this nuclear weapon to San Francisco, so we're going to take it directly along the path of one of the monsters that wants to eat it. As opposed
By train.
to bring one down from up north or down south and bring it that way. We only have nuclear weapons in one part of the country.
There was
the rest of
that's
that.
where the whole movie kind of like took a flaw to me, because what was they wanted nuclear power, right? They wanted plutonium or whatever's in the weapon, right?
Yeah.
So why didn't they just go to the Midwest where there's like tons of shit in Iowa and stuff in like, I mean, what was the fascination? I know they were trying to meet each other halfway, but that one creature could have just stayed there at the bunker where they had all the other radioactive material, and it was just like that whole pseudoscience crap. Like, and then Godzilla's supposed to be this apex predator, right? That's why his theory was let them fight, right? What the hell did they do with the bodies after these bodies had to have radiation? They're just left in the city. At least you could have grabbed them at the end and drug them to the ocean with them, like he was gonna freaking eat them or something. I didn't understand Godzilla's motivation to kill him besides that he was like the balancing force in nature. Was that the only reason? They
Like
refer
a
to him as
god
an apex
protector,
predator.
I think. He was like
Well,
kind of
you
a
know,
god
Pretty much,
protector.
yeah.
Apex predators eat what they kill. I don't. They would at least, grab it and drag it into the ocean with you. That would have been more plausible. I mean,
Well,
after
I
taking
think-
your
Godzilla is just
like or whatever you did, I don't know.
He was just pissed off. He was, they woke him up.
yeah.
Yeah, I'm like,
Hatfields and the McCoys. It must be.
yeah,
Like, oh, they're awake. I gotta kick their asses.
exactly. I was like,
Well,
All
I took it as, and it's happened in the previous, and this is where, just like with the ending, felt owed to a few of the older Godzillas.
yeah,
You had a territorial thing for a while. They used to play with the Godzilla of at least the way I interpreted it, where he has a big monster. There's another big monster on his area or on his,
planet.
his planet, and
See,
and he's
this is where I
pissed
get-
because he's like, "This is my stomping grounds, God damn it!"
They're having-
you need to explain my movie, Mark. You need to narrate my movie.
Godzilla's that defender type guy. And the only thing missing from the end was a little Japanese kid going, "Bye, Godzilla! We love you!"
I understand that, but
Well, see, somebody. Oh, I think it was you, Joe, that mentioned it was kind of a cheesy ending. And for me, there have been Godzilla films that had the cheesy ending. Son of Godzilla, for crying out loud.
well, yeah. I didn't understand how he took damage in this movie. Because the damage seemed like, oh, I took a few missiles to the face, and like I just fell down after the fight with the. I know I took some damage, and then did I absorb the radiation? I think I wrote that part in myself. Was he absorbing their radiation, and that was how he saved the city? That's the only reason I could understand that saved the city part was maybe he absorbed all the radiation like off them and like took it to the deep ocean with him. Was that something that happened, or was I imagining
Don't try
that?
to
I
understand
was like,
the science.
what?
Don't try to understand the science.
Well, I mean,
No,
They-
no,
they-
don't
they-
think about it too closely.
They had
I
the
did
air
notice-
drop. They do the halo drop into the city because of the EMP.
yeah.
So they drive in. What's the first thing they do when they land on the ground? Whip on electric gadget and go.
Turn on a thing. I caught that too. He turned it on, and then who would attack a thing like that with planes? I'm like, oh, we have like weapons that can like shoot you from like 50 miles away. Why would you come at that thing with a freaking plane? I'm like, it already displayed it can shoot an EMP off once, and then it's gonna send like 5 planes at it. That's our government at work right there. So I'm like, what?
Well, there you go. And now, the first Godzilla, 1954, and even a few after, had that subtext of nuclear war, natural disaster. Do you think, we'll start with Colin on this, do you think that this film accurately portrayed some of the concerns we have as far as environment, destruction, as well as still a kind of a fear of nuclear and damage as well? Do you think that they accurately kind of added that subtext to this film, or was that really not as deep as the 1954 film?
No.
I think it had some subtext, but it definitely wasn't that deep. I mean, you could definitely see the destruction and the panic over these things, but it wasn't so, I think, blatantly obvious as the first Godzilla film was, when it was really more relevant to what the character was created for.
What about you, Don? Do you think that subtext was there?
No, not at all.
All right.
I don't.
Glenn, what about you? Do you think they were trying for it?
No, it wasn't. I mean, in the older ones, the whole radioactive, atomic bomb thing, that's what made Godzilla.
Mm-hmm.
In this one, they even point out the fact that all those atomic bomb tests weren't tests. They were trying to blow up Godzilla.
Yep.
So Godzilla's not something we made. Godzilla's something
He
that
was activated.
they changed it. Godzilla is something that existed before us.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
he was activated by the first submarine. That's the way I understood the story. Was I wrong, or the first nuclear sub like awakened him, right?
Oh,
Yeah,
woke him
nuclear-
up.
There was a guy yelling at his kid in the theater, and I missed some of the story. So we were like, "He's gonna kill his kid," me and my friend. Whatever. That's another whole story. But he was like the subs awakened him, right? The nuclear first their subs like kind of activated him, right?
Yeah,
Right?
the sub or the first nuclear test, I think, did.
Yeah.
But I mean, they've done that story before, haven't they, Ramona?
Yeah.
Where they've Godzilla's been awoken by a he was already there and he's been awoken by the nuclear explosions.
Or a sword with a lightning bolt.
Or
That was
Yeah, there
Jason.
have
That was
been-
Jason.
Godzilla too.
Oh,
Yeah, I don't
Ramona's
think that
kind of-
message is very clear if they were even trying to have some kind of, hidden agenda message in this movie. I don't think it was. I think you can still watch the original one today and feel an impact on it more than this movie.
Scott, what about you, sir? Did you see
Well,
it?
and it's important to note that the original was from Japan, the one place that has actually had civilian populations decimated by nuclear weapons from an outside force. And it was not ancient history when Godzilla came out, 1954. That was 9 years before.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
that would be like us reliving something that happened in 2005.
Yeah.
I mean, it was very recent history, so it was very much a cautionary tale. And if you watch that movie, it's very somber. It's very this one. I don't think they cared. I don't think they even bothered to do it to the subtext. I think that they tried to make it even more somber, even more serious, and kind of create something else. But that goes with my biggest problem with the movie, which I don't know if I should cover now or not.
Well, we'll get to that in a minute.
Because
in response to that, the whole part that made me mad was the reason why Watanabe's character didn't want to use the atomic bomb was because his dad was at, and I'm like, okay, we're using an atomic bomb, but we're not bombing a Japanese city, we're bombing a giant monster.
Yeah.
All of mankind.
And this kind of had that True Lies thing. Well, it's okay. We got it about a mile or two from the coast, and the bomb went off. It's fine, dude. Shockwaves, nuclear fallout, lots of things. Yes, you know what? All of those people in San Francisco that you're happy just got saved, including the kids on the bus, probably either going to die horribly of radiation poisoning or grow tentacles
even worse.
or some shit.
Oh, come on. That bomb was so far out. I mean, when they started carrying it, they had 25 minutes left to walk it to a boat, fight a monster, and send the boat off, which means that thing should have blown up probably before they even got on the boat. But
Yeah.
Well, let's get to Tony. What about you? Did you see any subtext at all in the film? Any message at all, or is it much like some of the rest of us saw, where it was kind of flat as far as any type of message outside of the human relationship we had going on?
To be not really. It's pretty much what just Colin really said about the human emotions not really being as deep. But I mean, even though if the human emotions aren't as deep as the original Japanese film, I still thought they were really well developed for what the film was trying to go for.
Sure. All right, great. And you know what? I'll put it out here because I'm a curious person. I honestly think that maybe some of us who had problems with the human parts of it, I think a little bit would have been added had the guy stayed on the boat.
No, I'm actually glad they didn't.
You know, for
I
me,
thought they were going to do that. I'm like, oh, screw you, man.
I wanted to see him.
Pull a Dark Knight and drive it out. That's what I thought was going to happen.
That's what I thought it was. They were going to nuke him, and I kind of wanted to see that. I'm like, okay, he falls, then Godzilla falls, but then Godzilla gets back up. He's like, yeah, I had a good nap. See you later. So I think the Rube shows definitely that they're definitely from different perspectives. This film.
The subtext thing, though, was kind of a little bit about that stupid Fukushima plant. Well, I'm not going to say stupid because it changed the world, but that Fukushima nuclear plant. So I don't agree 100% it didn't have any subtext because it was kind of like, I think what they were trying to possibly say was that we're making the world more possible for these things to exist by using more and more nuclear power. I kind of think that might have been slightly the angle, and then, Godzilla's here to, even the score, balance the, he's like basically a force of nature. Obviously, he says that we think we are in control, but really, Godzilla, blah, blah, so. But definitely that Fukushima thing had to be, obviously when they were writing the script, that had to be on their mind. So
That definitely had the hints of or a taste or flavor of Fukushima, what they were going for. I mean, that's the closest, the most recent
well, yeah,
nuclear
the
involved
movie
disaster.
the movie would have
So.
been cool if that would have activated Godzilla. That they could have had like a real event tie into like instead of making this completely, and they could have saved the money on Bryan Cranston. They could have just had like the Fukushima plant set this guy off or whatever. Activated him. I don't know, whatever. I always like to create these movies in my head, Mark. That's why I like to.
Yeah, well, I know.
It's like you were watching this movie and you were thinking like,
Rewrites.
I wish I was watching this one movie instead, and which is something I can totally get. I've done that too.
Well, I think we're going on an hour here. I think we've spoken a lot of good things, interesting points on the film, and I think that the opinions we have here in the spoiler room shows exactly what we have going on in the audience. We have many people who are disappointed, many people are in between, and some of us who really loved it, even with all of its flaws. So we'll go down the line here. We'll start with Tony. Tony, name one good thing you really, what you find, what was your most favorite part of the film, and the one thing that you really did not like about the movie. I know you liked it overall, but if you could pick one thing you really loved and one thing you really hated, what would that be with Godzilla?
Well, overall, I love the film, but if I have to pick like a nitpick that probably did bug me the most, I would say just those couple of times that they tease you, like you think that Godzilla's gonna fight against those Mutos, and then it cuts the vision. It's all like, come on, really? You're not gonna give us that epic fight right there? What the fuck, Gareth Edwards? But yeah,
Well,
as a nitpick, that's the one that bugs me the most, to be honest.
Mhm.
And then.
I can see your point on that, because there's the one fight where it would look so realistic. It looked like almost they were back to the guys in suits, and you have this shot of the guys, the Mutos flying around, and we cut away. And it's like,
Yeah.
wait.
They even did the same thing with the Las Vegas scene. So like, come on.
Yeah. And what was
then,
like your
like the
most
best
favorite?
part. And then like I said, I did love the whole movie, but if I did have to say like my absolute favorite part, the one that made me go, oh my gosh, yes, I would have to say it's literally the final 20 minutes. During that final, I'm not kidding you, during that final 20 minutes, I was going out of control. I couldn't control myself. There was even a couple of people that turned around and looked at me like, calm down, dude. But it's not just me, though. I would say about 50% of my audience was getting excited. They were like, oh my god, it's Godzilla! Woo! And of course, once Godzilla breathed the blue fire out of his mouth, everyone was going, oh yeah!
That was the moment I was waiting for. Yeah.
I would definitely say, out of all the showings I've been to this year, I would say my Godzilla screening has the best and most exciting theater audience everywhere. Everyone was just pretty much having fun with the film.
Awesome. Mr. Davis, I know you pretty much disliked it overall, but what would be your one best part of the film and ultimate worst?
Okay, the best I will say is that there are some things to enjoy, and I think probably the biggest is that I still think Gareth Edwards is a very good director, and the film, some of these shots and everything, and the way he would set up the mood to make it feel like you are right there and everything, some of that was really done well. I thought that was really, even like just simple things when there's no monsters in sight, but they know they're out in the distance and they're kind of traveling with that bomb and they're kind of like looking out. Some of those shots were just so beautiful. It just like put me right there. So I liked that a lot. The thing I hated the most wasn't even the tease about Godzilla, and it was the thing I was worried about with this, and it was about the tone. And this is not all on Edwards or anybody. It's actually on us as a society, American society. If there's one thing, and I love my country, don't get me wrong, but if there's one thing that troubles me about American culture, it is the huge hard-on we get over Armageddon. You know, disaster porn. We love disaster porn in our movies. You know, if you can show us a city getting destroyed, you know, innocent people running, going ah, and then getting wiped out. Absolutely, they love it. No, people just love it, and everything from these Roland Emmerich crap to a thing like this. So everything is so serious, and everything is like, oh my gosh, now look, you get to see thousands of people get wiped out. The original film got to do that and show some of that, but it still had an emotional heart to it beyond the special effects because that wasn't its main point. It was trying to make a point. And then, of course, the later films were just kind of getting more and more fun. This film really fed into that weird thing, and I don't know where it comes from. I don't know if it's our history, our upbringing, our religion, anything. I'd love to figure it out. But we get this huge boner when it comes to destroying ourselves. We don't get it from creating things. We don't get it from it's like they don't have the imagination to create things. So everybody blows their wad on like imagining how things are going to destroy themselves. Why you hear about all this stuff about the end times and all this stuff. And I honestly do think all of that is tied in with this tone where it is so bleak. It is so serious all the time. And it's just this super hyper violent, very serious, humorless film where you're just seeing thousands of extras getting wiped out by special effects, and I think that is the biggest problem. It was the one thing I was worried was going to happen with this movie because it has happened so many times before, and it happened for like 2.5 hours on this movie. So, yeah, that was my biggest problem with it.
And it happened in Man of Steel in the last 50 minutes. So,
and Man of Steel as well. And I think we can all, a lot of us anyway, can agree that it's one of the things that Man of Steel had no sense of humor, and it was just this disaster porn stuff, and I just don't like it. I just hate it. I mean, when I was watching this movie, and you know what I was saying, and this you should never say, honestly, because I know that there's already going to be people going, "What? No!" But I said, you know, all the same, as far as giant monster movies are concerned, I'd rather be watching a Mega Shark film right now.
Oof.
I would, because as goofy as those are, as stupid as those are, you know what? Those are a lot more fun than this. This is just beating this dead horse. Now you're gonna watch this thing. Don't worry, we'll show the dog and the kid outrun them. They're probably dead anyway, but we're gonna show them.
We're dead.
They drown.
I mean,
If not, they got radiation.
Like Sharknado. At least it's not Sharknado.
I love Sharknado.
Me too.
Sharknado delivered on what it promised. It promised something.
There were no false promises in that, yeah. You knew what you signed up for. Yeah.
And now I'm hearing there's going to be a Sharknado 2.
Which I'm going to see.
Comes out in July.
And there'll be a 3 as well in 2015 to compete. So
and Riff Tracks is going to do a live riffing of the original Sharknado this summer.
Yes, they are. So
as a Mystery Science Theater fan, I'm into that.
So, Miss Ramona, Miss Godzilla fan extraordinaire, what was your best moment in this film, and what was your least favorite part of this film?
I guess my best moment was actually getting to see him, even if it was only for 5 seconds at a time.
Mm-hmm.
And honestly, this movie to me you could cut out a little bit of this movie. It was a little long for me.
Mm-hmm.
And then maybe if we had cut it down, the times that Godzilla wasn't in it wouldn't seem so far apart. So I would feel like I had seen him more, and it would be a psychological trick on me.
It could have done with some extra trimming. I think the 2 hours plus was a long time for any kaiju film, in all honesty. Because
and I mean, I know some of the older ones, can be a little lengthy, at times.
Yeah, they did get a little long in the tooth as well, as far as the runtime goes.
Well, most of those old ones that I was watching from the show, now I know that the other ones got a little longer, like 105 minutes or so. Most of the older ones were like around the 90-minute mark.
Mm-hmm.
But they told but so much stuff was happening from them. There were so many people chasing each other that when when I was watching these things, I'm like, it feels like I just watched a 2.5-hour film. It was 90 minutes.
Yeah.
So I agree with you there, Ramon. Sorry.
Yes.
So yeah, that would be my thing. And I guess I really didn't. I was never felt attached to any of the people, which is fine because I just wanted to be attached to Godzilla. But like, if all the people, seriously, and it's not because I'm a horrible American and I want apocalypse now, since Scott called everybody out on that.
Yeah. Thanks, Scott.
Oh great! Now, oh man, I'm gonna have.
He's just gonna blame his insomnia, and then
I'm gonna have like angry political people after me, but that was not my intention. I swear. Yay, America! I love it.
America.
He's gonna wake up, think he sees Godzilla, but it turns out to be a dream.
Anything else in it, Ramona? Or?
No, I was just gonna say all of those people could have like died, and Godzilla could have just walked by, and I still would have been happy with just there he is. Nobody's blocking his way.
Mr. Caldwell, what about you? Your best moment and worst moment in Godzilla?
The best moment was Godzilla in the fog and smoke, just looking cool, and I liked when he fought and did his moves, his classic moves. I liked the design. I like all that. So all that was good. The parts that were Godzilla intensive, I liked. The questions I'm left asking is what happened to the radiation, and why the fuck was Mary Elizabeth Olsen, whatever the hell her name is, in this movie exactly?
Yeah.
She didn't need to be in this movie. Why can't he just be a soldier that his dad knew a lot about Godzilla, and they said, man, you guys might know a lot about Godzilla, join us, because that's what happened anyways. Like the guys I work with said, he was on leave the whole time that he was doing all this shit. He was supposed to be on leave, and I don't know, whatever. That was the frustrating part, was that guy running around acting stupid. The bomb, the blah blah, the chasing the bomb around, and
you could have cut her parts out definitely and trimmed. She
didn't need to even be in it.
So
Bryan Cranston.
I liked her part, but I just thought that
Why?
But I mean, I thought it gave him the pathos of him having that extra guilt and stuff. It's just that she's a good actress. Why put was it you that were saying and Glenn I think as well? Why put such a wonderful actress in such a teeny tiny role?
Yeah.
So.
And
go ahead. I keep on interrupting. I'm sorry.
No, that's Glenn. You're so American.
I agree with what you said. That's another thing. I agree with what Scott said about people loving death and destruction. I'm one of them. I mean, I love the magnitude of destruction, but I do agree with what he's saying, that there's this whole like apocalyptic vibe in the world. That's what my wife always says. She would agree with that too. It's like,
oh, thank
people in this world, they just want to believe so much in the apocalypse. It's like ridiculous, and I'm like, yeah. I make videos about it. What am I going to say?
Thank you, and thank you to your wife.
Glenn,
save my bacon there.
Glenn, favorite moment and worst moment in Godzilla?
Favorite moment. It's actually two moments that are pretty much related. It starts with when you see Godzilla powering up for his breath weapon.
Oh God, yes.
Yeah.
And when he shoots the fire down the dude's throat.
Yeah.
That's my favorite part. My least favorite part would have to be the 121 minutes that wasn't that.
That's excellent. I love him.
I wanted 121 more minutes of that.
Exactly.
Don, what about you? Favorite part and least favorite part?
I'm right there with Beth. When Godzilla started powering up and the lights started going up his back, I just got chills. I was so excited. I looked over at my nephew and I'm like, you gotta see this! My 10-year-old nephew. That was very exciting. And yeah, if you're gonna have a story with human element, you gotta at least make the humans worth empathizing with. So character development, huge big deal for me. If you want us to connect, you gotta make people worth connecting with.
Awesome. And Colin, you sir, how did your best moment and worst moment in Godzilla?
I think probably the best moment was watching when you see his tail, his body start to just glow, and then he just breathes fire down the monster.
That's everybody's. I think you're waiting for that moment.
That was the money shot of the movie. That was really. It was, no, I'm not. I don't mean that in any sleazy way. I'm serious.
Yeah, no, you're right. Though.
That was the thing like that we were. That was the shot.
I was
that
waiting
everyone
on that.
was waiting for.
Yeah.
I was waiting on that.
Least fair. They were dumber than the soldiers in Godzilla in '98. I mean, even those guys. Let's get a big pile of fish together, guys. Let's open the sewer.
My favorite
no,
in
the
Godzilla
soldiers
1980.
in '98 are way more dumber than the 2014.
I don't
one.
know.
Like,
This
the way
movie
they showed
is
common
better than
sense.
'98. This movie was way better than '98. But my favorite part of '98 was that when they actually lose Godzilla. How do you lose Godzilla?
I mean, for Pete's sakes, Zilla actually jumped up and ate one of the military.
It's probably the same
How do they
platoon.
lose him? If he's Godzilla's a ninja. There's that whole scene where he pretty much like sneaks up on one of the Mutos. He's just walking up, not making a sound.
Yeah.
That was so cliched of a scene where die and then Godzilla comes up behind it. I was like, really? Come on, just have him go on and send the
Looks
nuke
up
off.
from behind, like
That kind of happened in Godzilla versus Mechagodzilla.
I was gonna say that happened on other Godzilla films, though. That has happened on other Godzilla films where a monster has snuck up on the other monster.
What would have been cool is if Godzilla would have grabbed the nuke and just thrown it out to the ocean. He had a big enough hand. He could have done that. He could have just got it and like chucked it like a candy bar. It's like
He didn't know how much time was left. He wasn't going to risk it.
Then he could have took his nap. He could have took his cat nap after.
That was great. Go along.
Just like instead, you just take all the drama out of it. Totally, just grab it and just throw it out there. Like
This isn't fish. I don't want this.
Yeah.
I'm an apex predator, but I don't eat. I don't know, whatever.
Well, the humans are too little to eat. Otherwise, he would have just said, "Oh, yummy snack."
Yeah, I guess.
I wonder how many fishes Godzilla actually eats when he's underwater.
That's what this should have shown. I would have liked
He eats
that.
whales. I think he eats whales. I don't think he eats. I think he doesn't just eat fish.
I just thought of something. Does anybody remember that in the '90s that there was a industrial band called God Lives Underwater?
No.
I think no.
Well, there was, and I just now
What?
thought Godzilla lives underwater. It makes sense now. It's a bit of a reach, but yeah.
So, well, we've got a sequel coming out, which I am happy for. I'm hoping we get some more monster action, but
And hopefully more Godzilla.
and more
Mechagodzilla is what I want to see.
Yeah, okay, yeah, so final thought of the night. Okay, what monster would you like him to fight in the sequel? We'll start with, I want to start with Colin on this one. Colin, what monster would you like to see him fight in the sequel if they could get the licensing? Because I heard it's a licensing issue, so they probably won't. They'll probably have to do an original. But if they could, what's the one monster you'd like to see him fight in a sequel?
I think it'd be really cool to see King Ghidorah, if that's how you say his name.
Mm-hmm.
I think that'd be pretty awesome. Or King Kong, if possible.
Or King Kong, there you go. Peter Jackson would get worried. They might make him do a King Kong movie. Glenn, what about you? One monster that you'd like to see Godzilla fight?
Well, probably King Ghidorah.
Mhm.
Yeah, I'd have to go with that.
Yeah.
Although I don't,
I don't remember that one. Which one was that one?
He's the three-headed.
He fought him a lot. In the old days, it was Ghidorah, three-headed monster, Invasion of the Astro Monster, Destroy All Planets, and then I think they brought him back for the Heisei series or whatever.
I don't know. I have a certain fondness for what was his actual name? Hedora or
Smog Monster.
Smog Monster.
Yeah, Smog Monster.
I have a certain fondness for the Smog Monster.
Only if they bring back all the songs that go with it, though.
Yeah.
Songs, of
Save
course,
the Earth.
That's a trippy movie.
It's insane. I loved it.
It's awesome. Yeah.
I'm going to totally do an episode of my show all about that one Godzilla movie. 'Cause it's just so weird.
You let me know when.
I will. Thank you.
Don, what about you? Your monster you would like to see Godzilla fight in the sequel, if he could.
I've always been partial to Rodan.
Rodan. Nice.
I've always been partial to Rodan. I know that's
No, Rodan would be good because then you could get that hurricane subtext in there. They could have the battle in Louisiana, and Rodan could cause another flood in New Orleans. There you go.
Let's get them both in. Ghidorah and Rodan. Godzilla and Rodan can, of course, be the reluctant allies who will team up just this once to beat the evil monster and then go their separate ways.
Yes, there you go. What about you, Joe?
Is that what his name is? Mechagodzilla, the electronic one or whatever?
Yeah,
I'm not the biggest fan. Sorry.
Yeah.
No, that's.
I mean, I know Rodan and Mothra and all that, but yeah.
No, that's the name of Mechagodzilla. Yeah.
Yeah. Mechagodzilla would make a lot of sense considering the angle they were playing with this. You know, Godzilla suddenly isn't the savior of the humans, and suddenly they want to try to, build something so they don't have to rely on Godzilla. And
I want aliens to come down.
Yes. Thank you. Yes.
The Mysterians.
Then it'd be
the Mysterians come down.
right? So he shows up, or maybe make it a creature from another planet or something. I don't know.
What about you, Ramona? What monster would you like to see Godzilla fight?
I could go for some Mechagodzilla action, or even something. It's gonna sound crazy, but I love me some Space Godzilla.
Yeah.
Space
I still haven't
Godzilla.
seen that one.
I do. He's like the Wario of Godzilla. Like,
The red kryptonite Godzilla.
so I would completely welcome that one. It'll never probably happen, but I would welcome it.
No. What about you, Mr. Davis? Your monster that you'd like to see Godzilla fight in a sequel?
It's gotta be King Ghidorah.
Yeah.
He was like such a constant thorn in Godzilla's side in those old Showa films, and what some of you guys were saying, like Joe was saying, yep, gotta be aliens. You gotta bring in something fantastic, not so damn serious, in this next one. And yes, what Ramona was saying, to put Rodan, who yes, Beth was probably my next favorite to Godzilla of the good guy monsters and stuff. I love that movie Rodan. Yeah, put Godzilla and Rodan and have King Ghidorah. What did I say?
No, you're Rodan.
Godzilla and Rodan fighting aliens where they send King Ghidorah. Absolutely, I think you guys have all kind of each sprinkled great stuff in there. Fantastic, except for Mothra. Screw him because I hate those little girls.
Tony, what about you? Monster that you'd like to see Godzilla fight? A new one, or would you like to see what monster would you like to see him fight?
Well, to see a Godzilla versus Pacific Rim movie, but I do want to go with what Colin said, which is King Kong. I just love that son of a bitch.
Oh, King Kong.
I thought that was good too. Yeah, I like that one.
That's good.
King Kong would be interesting. That would be an interesting angle they could play with it. I think it's far enough away from the original King Kong. You could almost get away with it.
And like what one of you said, Peter Jackson could get attached to the project.
No. It'll be 6 hours long.
It'll be 4 hours long, and 3 of them will be helicopter shots over the monsters.
No, it'll be 6 hours long, and then as they rush towards each other, directed by Peter Jackson.
Yeah, Pete, I love you. From now on, you get budgets of $5 million and a runtime of 2 hours. That's it.
Well, I mean, Peter Jackson's Kong is 2 hours and 40 minutes?
Yeah.
3 hours and 3 minutes.
Oh wow. Yeah. And you only get maybe 2.5 hours of King Kong, and I still love the fucking movie over.
An awesome movie.
I hated that movie.
That's a discussion for another time.
I didn't hate it. I liked it, but it was a disappointment. I love the original.
Kong in
I could admit it does get a little slow in the first
machine gun. Godzilla takes A-bombs to the face. It shouldn't even be a fight.
Godzilla, he just
Sets
walks
his-
up and blasts them, and that's it.
Sets his fur on fire, and
His
King
fur on fire.
Kong's like doing that little. It's like a little slapstick thing. King Kong's the furs on his butt is on fire. He's like going back in the scene, like hopping all the way back on top of the water, all the way back to Skull Island.
No, we need like a mecha Shakma or something.
Oh my god!
That would be interesting.
Mecha baboon.
Oh my
There
god!
you go.
It's a
Wait.
giant door.
What we could have here, we have the American government try to create a Godzilla, and it looks like Zilla from '98. We just watch Godzilla wreck it for 2 hours.
There you go.
As a meteor is coming down and Bruce Willis is on there trying to destroy the meteor splits, and King Ghidorah comes out of the meteor.
That's what I was going to say. The
Slams
meteor
into the water, which causes a huge tidal wave, which knocks the aircraft carrier into the Capitol, and then Godzilla comes along and stops the volcano from erupting over Yellowstone.
Which woke up Rodan. Yeah, I'm like,
This is becoming like a Patton Oswalt pitch. And
Or
then
we could see a
Ultron
movie
is
where
there.
Godzilla has to earn his own wings.
Yeah, Godzilla. Oh, and then Godzilla, he uses Rodan, who has fallen, and attaches it to himself. And as he flies, he yells out, "Let's roll!" No, sorry.
Imagine we actually seen Godzilla roll like a turtle.
Yeah,
That'd be
there
pretty
you go. Gamera. We need a Gamera movie now. We
Gamera
need-
is getting rebooted in 2015 in
Yeah, I saw that
Japan.
too.
Is he really?
I think you're going to see a lot of these movies now. That's what I think.
Well,
Which
that's,
is,
That's
if nothing else,
okay.
that's great.
So
if
here's the real
anything,
question.
yeah.
How long before they bring back Adzuki?
Oh, the baby.
The smoke rings.
Ugh.
I made everybody cringe.
The baby Godzilla.
Well, maybe Godzilla looks different than the one Godzuki. And then there's Godzilla Jr.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, that's true.
Is
And
I
actually,
actually have a question.
yeah.
I actually have a question. I was going to say this. Even though some of you did hate this 2014 film, do you think it makes you forget about the abomination the 98 film was?
Yeah, of course.
Yes.
I'd already forgotten about it by watching those old films. But yeah, that was just, I think everybody
Forgotten
can
but
say
never
that
forgiven.
that was just horrible. I remember going to see that, and I know that our ages and stuff. I think that I'm kind of like around the same age as some of you. I think some of you are younger than me though, and I was already like just over 20 and everything, like in my early 20s when that movie came out. And I remember by the time I was so excited to see it, and then by the time it ended, and Puff Daddy was singing
Yeah, God, yeah.
I remember running from the theater outside and yelling, no! No!
I had a similar experience, yes. Because I saw it early when it first came out. We got tickets from the radio station. It was the same feeling. I was so psyched, so psyched, so psyched, so psyched, and then like it was just like, bleh.
My similar story of that, the radio station where you're excited, you get the preview, and then you see the movie, Blair Witch 2. That's the one I got to see. I'm like,
So, I think that's one thing we could say though. With Godzilla being popular at the box office, even with the mixed reviews, it's still got a good audience build. Are we gonna possibly see a rebirth of monster films that don't have the asylum attached to them?
I think so.
I hope so.
I hope so too, actually, because if they look as good as Godzilla did, I'm all for it. If they can make the monsters look good, and hell, I'll even go for
Cloverfield sequel. That's what I want.
Cloverfield sequel.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, you know my favorite song, Cloverfield.
I want Japan to take the ball and say, okay, now let's reboot our Godzillas, let's reboot our Gameras, and we'll do our own thing and let the Americans do their own thing. Because really, after this movie, and I've said it before, I was like, crazy white people, get your hands off Godzilla because it's all just a bummer.
But the fact that it's making money, I think, might spark Toho into looking back into it and putting some serious thought back into bringing the films back. Because Godzilla 85 is the only one that's not released on DVD, and I got to watch the Japanese version recently, and it's weird how history has repeated itself, but this time it's been popular in the U.S. Godzilla 85, that film took a while to make. It was a 10-year hiatus, just like we've had here with Godzilla. It was a wide, huge release in the U.S., but on the difference is it bombed in the U.S., and here we actually have, after a 10-year hiatus, a Godzilla film that's actually made lots of money, and hopefully Toho takes notice and sees it. Though this one around didn't have Bambi versus Godzilla, which I was disappointed. I was hoping to see some Bambi versus Godzilla.
Mark's video about that. I'm sorry, Mark's video about that was like, it was so weird. I had literally watched American Godzilla 85 and the Japanese Godzilla 85, and the very night as I'm going and posting my opinion, he published that on the same night, and I watched it, and everything he says in that video is pretty much the same. Right down to me seeing Godzilla 85 in the theater. Yup. The differences in the Cold War stuff. Yup. The differences in quality. Yup. So he just says it all. I swear. It's weird.
Mark's a mind reader.
Yeah.
Have any of you, some of you I'm sure have seen Godzilla 85, and some of us were able to see it in the theater, but Tony or Colin, had you seen Godzilla 85?
No.
No, the 1954 film and unfortunately the 98 film are the only Godzilla films I've seen.
If you get a chance, I think it's online, check out Godzilla 85, the Japanese cut, because it'll give you an idea of, and if you can find the American version, then do that. I know it's on VHS, but because that film really shows you just the difference in the film of how they cut it versus the versus the U.S. versus the Japanese one, namely at the superpowers, which it was kind of funny. Wow. It came up in this film. For my thought in this, it came up in this film where they had held off on nuking them, and I had just watched Godzilla 85, the Japanese version, and in that one, Russia and the U.S., their very first response to how to take care of Godzilla, let's throw a nuke at it.
Yeah, and in the Japanese
85 film just called Godzilla?
Yeah, no, it's called
Godzilla 1985.
Or
and then in Japan,
Return of Godzilla.
There you go. In Japan, it was Return of Godzilla. And in the 85 edit is like all like rah rah. It's like so total like Cold War paranoia thing. And they cut the U.S. The Soviets look awful. In the other one, they basically shame both sides, and like Japan even alleges like maybe these guys want to throw a nuke at it so that they can use Japan as a testing ground for their nuclear weapons. They were like doing some really saying some amazing things. I was like, whoa. I did not expect them to go there. That was really
the Japan cut really does not paint the U.S. or Russia in their Cold War very well. No. And when you got both of them responding immediately, let's nuke them, and then in this film you had people, well, maybe we shouldn't nuke them. I'm thinking, yeah, that's because it's on your own soil, isn't it? If it was Japan and Tokyo was getting annihilated, you'd be like, yeah, let's throw a nuke at it. You know, you'd be like Bill Pullman and go, nuke them.
Yeah, exactly.
So, well, I think we're going to end it here, folks. I want to thank you, everybody, so much for joining us in the spoiler room. We had a great crew. Why don't we go down the line, Colin, you first. Where can they catch you at, sir? You have stuff that people can see, some good stuff. Why don't you let us know where they can find you at? Go ahead, plug away.
So my YouTube channel is Marvel DC Fans Reviews. And then I'm also on Twitter at MDC Reviews, and I'm a member of the We Live Film fan chat page on Facebook, and yeah, that's where I'm at.
Awesome. And Dawn?
Hey, I'm. You can find me in the audience.net. I do written stuff. I'm not a video person like these people.
But written's more legit, as I'm being told.
Oh, that's not so at all.
Mr. Butner, go ahead, plug away all your stuff.
All my stuff. Well, you can find me on YouTube at the B-Movie Bunker, where I do my reviews. More importantly, at least for me, you can find my current project under construction, I guess. I'm doing an Indiegogo trying to raise money for that. You can find that Indiegogo.com/project/like naked-hobo-pictures-presents-even-more-horror-shorts /X/4921160, or just look for Naked Hobo Picture Presents Even More Horror Shorts.
There you go. Awesome. Well, hopefully you can get that money you need for that shirt, because we got to see more things like hell.
Absolutely.
There you go.
And Joe, what about you, sir?
Oh, yeah. I'm at Caldwell3, CAUWEL3 at YouTube. That's about it for right now. Working with you sometimes on We Live Film, and I'm on that We Live Film fan chat page also.
Awesome.
Let's call it.
Ramona, do you have anything that you'd like to plug, my dear?
You can occasionally read some of my interviews and articles on Rock Revolt magazine. It's online. Other than that, I'm just your average normal psychologist by day.
And Godzilla fan by
And
night.
Godzilla, that's what I'm usually doing.
Imagining Godzilla and things. So,
Freudian slips with Godzilla. Yeah.
Sometimes an atomic bomb is just an atomic bomb.
Mr. Scott Davis.
You can see me. I haven't written there for a while, but you can see me at filmgeekcentral.com. Also, I have a video web series called Movieocrity that you can catch on YouTube or Vimeo. I prefer Vimeo because YouTube sometimes bans my videos.
No.
They suck. They suck. And but I'm at YouTube and Vimeo. Movieocrity. That's MOVIOCRITY.
Awesome.
And I cover like exploitation and cult cinema.
Fantastic. And Mr. Estrada, go ahead, plug your stuff, man.
You could go to my YouTube channel, 22 Tiger Dude, 22 all Tiger Dude lowercase. Of course, that's where you'll see. That's where you will see my videos. You could go to my Facebook page, 22 Tiger Dude. That's where I share all of my videos, and I type in my statuses. My Twitter, it's at TigerDude22, and well, you could just see me express my thoughts from there. And you could follow me on Instagram at 22 Tiger Dude.
I'm seeing a trend there.
And that's where I have my Tiger Power right there.
There you go, Tiger Power. Excellent. Well, thank you, everyone, for joining us on this fun discussion. I hope everybody had enjoyed it, and I hope people have enjoyed listening to it and watching it. And remember, with the spoiler room, the films may be spoiled, but the conversation is always fresh. Good night.